Hello, my name is Kelly Bowen, and I am a recent graduate from the Weatherford College in Weatherford, Texas, with an applied science degree in information technology. I'm currently enrolled in the Applied Technology and Performance Improvement degree at the College of Information through the University of North Texas. And today I will be speaking to you about the secrets to becoming an effective communicator with email and other forms of communication. The secrets of effective communication with email and other electronic communication, presented by Kelly Belden. Now one might ask, what is effective communication? Effective communication can be defined as a two-way information sharing process, which involves one party sending a message that is easily understood by the receiving party. Effective communication by business managers facilitates information sharing between company employees and can substantially contribute to its commercial success. It is something many people overlook with all the latest ways of communicating with people now. We need to get back to what made us effective communicators. Now one might ask, how do we electronically communicate? Well, there are different kinds of electronic communication programs or software that we may use. One of the most popular is by using email. Email is a typed message that can be sent over the internet to anyone instantaneously. Another form is instant messaging. It allows for one-on-one communication with people from far away, and this is usually a text-based communication. Programs that use instant messaging are Windows Live Messenger, Skype Messenger, Google Chat, AOL Messenger, or Yahoo Messenger. And there are several others, but these are just the popular ones that are around. Now another way we communicate electronically is video chat. Video chat allows you to see the person you're chatting with. And the best way to use this is either with a computer with a webcam or your smartphone and some kind of program such as FaceTime, Tango, Skype, or Google Hangout. This allows you to see the person face to face, and it's more of a personable type conversation. One that most people wouldn't really think would be a form of electronic communication is actually blogging. And it's actually a form of journaling that helps people speak their mind and keep in touch with family and friends that may live a far distance away. Examples of where you could start a blog are blogger.com, wordpress.org, Squarespace, and LiveJournal. Now imagine many of you might know this next type. It's called social networks. And they're a way that we can create communities to keep in touch with people we know through different organizations. And you can share pictures and send messages. The most common, or I should say, the most popular forms of these are Facebook, MySpace, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Why is electronic communication important to business? Well, there's a lot of reasons. One of the reasons that it's so important is the fact that you're moving from writing a letter by hand to just typing up a memo to someone else within the company. That saves you money and it saves you time. You have to know what's the proper way to get your message across. effectively. Should you email somebody, or should you send an in-company message, or should you post to the company forum so everybody can see it? It just depends on what kind of people you're wanting to get your message to. Businesses have shown increased productivity and profitability by decreasing the time and money spent on correspondence. But on the other hand, it can cause people to be lackluster in their communication when they're using email or instant messaging or some form of text type communication. They might get a little lazy on things. And electronic communication can also replace the hassle of coordinating face-to-face meetings and provides a quick and easy way to communicate. Now, one thing that most people need to know is there are rules for using the internet, and this is called netiquette. Kind of like etiquette, but it's for the internet. Netiquette is basic rules to follow when communicating online with others. Take the time to apply netiquette rules to your electronic messages, and your writing will improve and help convince the audience that your electronic message is legitimate and worthwhile to read in today's fast-paced internet world. Now, the most important things here have been listed that you need to pay good attention to is your spelling and grammar. If you're not going to use proper grammar, proper spelling, you're going to not have a very good reputation within the company. Your boss is not going to listen to you. It's not going to be good. The next one it talks about is the you attitude. When you're communicating in business, your world is best to use you and your. It's important to remember it's not about me or I. You have to be focused around the entire company, not just yourself. That makes you self-centered, and that doesn't work in the business world. And you need to write concisely, meaning that when you're communicating, your points need to be clear and straight to the point. No rambling, because you can lose somebody in the process. Another thing that is recommended is always proofread your message. Best tip I can give you is whenever you're through writing your email, read it out loud. It helps you pick up small mistakes you might have missed. Use good tone. Use the wrong word and you can give your reader a bad impression about you. Another rule is to double check your email address. Now, you could send a very important business email to the wrong person, and that could be a liability for you. And you don't want to be known as the person that's going to be a liability. So make sure you check the email before you send it. Now, keep the file size small. Most people today are very impatient on how long they're going to wait for an email to download. If it's a large file, it suggests that you convert it to a PDF, and they'll download quicker than a huge file. And another thing they wanted to stress is instant messages are permanent. The quote from the author Frank here: "It is best to keep your thoughts to yourself because the internet is a permanent record of what you've sent. So if you do not want your message read by the wrong people, you probably should communicate your message using another media, avoiding sending it electronically." Which is true. You don't want that to come back and haunt you in the end. Be respectful. Respond to message properly. Be polite and friendly and professional at all times. And be professional at all times. Remember, electronic messages are permanent. Don't put yourself in the position with an unprofessional unprofessional message you may regret later. It may come back to hurt you. So how does one start making their communication effective? Well, when emailing, be specific with your subject line. That's the first thing you should do. This lets people know what your whole message is all about. Now, when you get past the subject line, you want to go to the body. This is where most of your information is going to come for your email. Keep it short and sweet. Don't add too much information that's not really needed. You need to stick to what your email is about. Otherwise, you'll just lose the reader. Make sure this next part goes along with what I said before. Make sure you give only the facts. Too much fluff will lose your reader. Another thing it suggests is to avoid huge distribution lists. Don't send it to everybody in the company if not everybody in the company needs it. If you need to give it to everybody in the company, try seeing if your company has a forum that you can post a link to that to. Then you won't clog up the email. You gotta know when it's appropriate to reply all. If you're only answering, say, Joe's question in the email that they sent back to you, only reply to Joe. Otherwise, don't reply at all, or not everybody needs it. Another thing that is suggested is to go green. Don't print it out unless you need to. Save your company money, don't print it out. Another major thing is to watch your tone. Most people don't get sarcasm and it doesn't really translate well when you try to write it down. You might offend somebody and that's not good. Avoid unnecessary attachments. If you need something edited or reviewed, then attach them, but otherwise it makes your server slow down really bad. I would recommend it. But limit graphics. If your recipients aren't customers, you don't need to make it look pretty. You need to be polite, but you don't need to make it look pretty. And everybody, this is a major point. Please quit yelling. Don't use all caps. It's implied as shouting, and it's really hard to read sometimes, so please give whoever you're writing your email to a break. Don't write in all caps. You also got to be mindful of your company's policy. Unless your company policy allows it, messages that are personal or not work related, you shouldn't use your company to do that. And use your common sense. Don't let your emotions fuel your email. Don't be angry. Don't email angry. They say with married couples, don't go to bed angry. That's the same thing with emails. Never email somebody when you're angry because you will definitely regret it later. Now there are some common mistakes that most people make when using electronic communication. Like when you're writing something, you might read something into it that's not really what the person meant to read into. So with electronic communication, there's no person's face you can read or their body language to know that you're doing something that they're not quite sure. It can cause misinterpretation of what you mean. And social networking, yes, that's good, but also been known to have a lot of fraud and predators. So be careful when you're using those websites. Another major thing many people forget when using electronic communication is not even putting a greeting or a closing. It can give your reader a bad impression and make you seem demanding, harsh, and even unfriendly. It's not nice. Always say hello, Mr. Jones or Mrs. Jones. That's polite. And knowing when to be formal and or not informal. If you've known the client for a long time and they're okay with you using their first name, use their first name. But if it's a new client, I would stick with Mr. Jones or Mrs. Jones. That's more professional and looks really good for you. And never use to whom it may concern. This might have been good when you were younger, but now that you're older and you can, most things that you need to send to people, you can search it out and find out who the proper person is to send the communication with. And that'll look really good in your favor if you're able to find out who it is. And then if you're emailing somebody and you decide to change the topic, make sure you change it in the subject line. If you don't do that, then you're going to have whoever's reading your email really, really confused. Another major thing is not paying attention to details. You have to be careful when you change things. Don't forget about the comma. If there's a comma that needs to be put that in there, because it can change your tone completely when somebody reads it, and it will not look good on yourself. Don't add too much personal information. If you know the person you're emailing and you ask how their child is or how their pet is, that's fine, but most times it's best to keep it concise and leave out personal details until you actually speak to that person later. And don't repeat questions that have already been answered. It's a waste of the person's time and it just shows that you're not paying attention. You got to answer emails point by point and don't repeat yourself. You also got to know when face-to-face communication is better. There's some situations like you may have to give a criticism on someone's work ethic or someone's job. It's probably better to do that in person or over the phone. Instead of sending an email, that's much, much better. Another thing when you're in a business is emojis or abbreviation. Those can be seen as unprofessional, and you don't want to do that. You want your bosses to know that you have enough time to write out what you're thinking, and it's better that way if you don't use them too much. That's alright when you're at home talking with your friends and family, but at work, you gotta keep it professional at all times. Now, with these few tips, you can become a more effective communicator.